So I spent over $600 buying the Monsieur Cuisine Smart appliance from Germany without knowing if I could actually use it here in the US. You might have an appliance too that you either already own or are considering getting and you want to know if you can use it. So I'm going to show you the one item that I needed to be able to use it in the US and not fry my appliance, especially one that's this expensive. Hello, I'm Jessica and welcome to my channel. I was able to visit family in Germany and that's where I was able to try out the older version of this Monsieur Cuisine Smart. I loved it. I wanted to have it here, but Lidl doesn't sell it here in the US. So I was lucky enough to get the Monsieur Cuisine Smart shipped to me by my cousin via DHL. I wasn't sure if I could even turn it on safely here, let alone use any of its features like accessing the recipes and things that it has. So if you're interested in that portion, just Monsieur Cuisine specific will be later on in the video. If you already have a European appliance that you're trying to figure out how to use here, there's a few things you need to know, and I do want to show you how I got it to work. So I was mainly going to talk about Europe/Germany versus the US. So in Germany, they use the 230 volt system with 50 hertz. And so they use the F-style plug, and these are what they kind of look like. So it's definitely very different. But if you're working with a different country's plug, make sure to research their kind. The US uses the 120 volt system with 60 hertz. So the US uses a type A or B plug. This one is not grounded. The type A is not grounded, type B is grounded. So it has the extra grounding rod in it. So if you're watching this video wondering about travel and thinking about smaller use appliances, most of them will say on the tag if it is usable in both countries. So for instance, this has a type A non-grounded plug, but if you actually read the tag, it says 110 to 240 volt, 50 to 60 hertz. So this curling iron, I can use with a standard adapter in Europe without frying the appliance or ruining the electrical system in that property. But then some other appliances like this one, my cheese straightening iron, is also a type A plug, but this is an older version. And if you look in the fine print in the middle here, this is only rated for US use. So if I try to use this with an adapter, I'm going to either break my straightener or ruin something in electrical. So don't be that person. Don't go travel and do it wrong, okay? Most electronics like laptops or phones are made these days to be able to run on both systems. You just have to get the correct adapter. So for my MacBook Pro, I was able to just buy a travel kit and have all the different adapters for most of the world. But a lot of times you can get away with just one adapter that you need. The one item that we needed to be able to run this European appliance safely was a step up, step down transformer. Our exact model is not sold online anymore. I will still link our exact model and then I will link a couple of other versions because I do think we kind of went overboard on this, but we just wanted to be safe rather than sorry on making sure it could run our appliance without ruining it. So right now, our transformer is sitting up here in our cabinet. When we first got it, it was out next to the appliance here. Then we moved it into some cabinets down here and then eventually realized we could have it up here. So it's pretty nice, because other than this main cord here coming down, you don't really notice that it's there. At some point, if we do renovation, we might build in a 220 outlet so that it's not as noticeable and then just have a slight converter. But please do not just use a converter for a big appliance like this because you will start a house fire or something. You have to have a transformer for it. So back here you have to set, so we have 110 volt. So that's ours. There's a fuse back here, just to note. Ours cost us around $115. Some of them are a little bit cheaper now, but it all depends on the kind that you get, how many plugs you want. This can work obviously for the Monsieur Cuisine Smart. It also could work for espresso machines or blenders or coffee makers or a Thermomix if you have the Apple of this type of a kitchen machine. The big thing to note though is there is a hertz difference. So in the European system, this is meant to work with 50 hertz where we have 60 hertz. So how I understood it was that if I'm running this on a 60 hertz system, the blade might be spinning faster than it would if it was plugged in Germany, for instance. So in the lifespan of this appliance, I could be shortening its life because it's kind of overworking it in a way. So far, I haven't really noticed a big difference, but I think in the long term, I'll have to see if I feel like it's shortening the lifespan. In general, I would not go and just buy an appliance just to use with the transformer if I don't have to. You know, if you're moving and it's just a short term that you're gonna be here, I could see one of these transformers being worth it. It is just much nicer to have a true appliance that goes for that country and just plug it in or have it plugged in and use it. For instance, I went to Germany and I loved all of my relatives. I felt like all had different versions, but very nice espresso coffee machines. But I was able to find the Chibo version on Amazon here to use here, so that I was able to just buy the American appliance, use it here. It's much better for the appliance. The Monsieur Cuisine Smart is a knockoff from Lidl of the Thermomix, which is a very expensive blender that can cook and do all these things. And I wanted to do the cheaper version to see if I use it enough to make it worth this purchase. So now I wanted to do a quick talk through what I can and can't use for the Monsieur Cuisine Smart being here in the US. So I can use it here in the US, I can access the recipes. The biggest downside is I can only have it set to German to be able to access the German recipes. If I set the language on the device to English, I can only access the UK recipes. And for me, I want most of the German ones. No offense, England. There's just not as many recipes. But my husband, who only speaks English, will now have to use it in the German setting, which he's just so used to the buttons and what it does that it's not a big deal. He could use Google Translate, but it works flawlessly with the transformer. If I use a VPN, I can hook up my phone and use the smart features, the remote cook. I can make my own recipes. I can use the app. In general, I do not use a VPN. We did when we set everything up, but it's not necessary. We were able to connect to the Wi-Fi, get access to everything. It gets its updates. We can favorite recipes. I just can't make my own and add it into the system. So that's just something to note. If you want to be able to use all the smart functionality that it has, then you will need to have a VPN that it is connected to. The Zaubertopf and a few of the other German magazines that have recipes specifically for the Thermomix or the Monsieur Cuisine Smart, my local library has them for free on their online app. You go to the Libby app and you put in your library card. Some of them have international magazines. You just have to look for magazines and pick your language, and I'm able to see every month all of the new magazines, and it's super cool. If you're in the US, you can actually get the Thermomix, I think it's called, app, and you can use that even though we're in the US, where, for instance, the Monsieur Cuisine app does not exist in the US App Store. You can get around this by having a German Apple ID and you sign out of one, sign into the other, but it is kind of a pain to do that whole thing. So before, we just had an old phone that was always on a VPN and had an Apple ID logged in, and then that was how I would do everything. But now I just pretty much can use all the functionality of it that I use on a regular basis without needing to mess with the VPN, to be honest. If you're wanting a more in-depth review of the Monsieur Cuisine Smart, I have a lot of unboxing and accessory videos that I will probably make if there is any interest in them, and also showing you the most used accessories that I use for the Monsieur Cuisine Smart, then I can definitely make videos about that. If there are any other questions that you have that I did not answer in this video, please be sure to leave it below so that I can try to answer those for you. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Tschüss! Und falls du Deutsch sprichst, werde ich dieses Video nächste Woche nochmal machen auf Deutsch. So bitte wieder zurückkommen, um es anzugucken. Ciao!